Today I'm in the kitchen and going to show you how to brew up a batch of Mr. Beer American Devil IPA. So let's get to it. For this brew, we're going to need 2 cans of American Devil IPA, 2 yeast packets included with those, a Mr. Beer keg fermenter, 3-quart pot, a stirring spoon, and 1-step sanitizer. Make sure you sanitize all your utensils before brewing and your bottles before bottling. To make the malt extract easier to pour, just heat up the cans in some water before you begin brewing.
Okay, I'm adding the American Devil hopped extract to the water. The water's already begun to boil. I've turned the heat down to prevent foaming over, which can happen when you start to boil on your beers. So I reduced the heat a little bit so I could stir it in, constantly stirring as I add it so that it doesn't stick on the bottom of the pan and get burned on there, which can create some nasty black flakes in your beer while your fermenter, and possibly, or probably, off flavors in your beer. You don't want that burnt flavor. So let's just stir it in nicely. I got another can to go. This is the American Devil IPA from Mr. Beer. Okay, following our handy Mr. Beer instructions, we're going to fill up our keg fermenter to the 4-quart mark, right about here. You can use tap water. I would recommend bottled water, or I use cold filtered water from my Brita filter in the fridge. Okay, using my handy gloves so I don't get my hands burnt on the pot, I'm pouring the extract, the boiled extract, into the fermenter through my funnel so that I can trap some of the extra hops. I have a little screen in there. And then we top it off with cold water from my Brita in the fridge. I use filtered water for this, and it's cold. Helps to cool off the wort. Okay, here's where we need to be. So we just fill it up to that line. And it looks like I need to go get more.
Under the cap of your Mr. Beer extract can, you're going to find a packet of yeast. Once you've got your wort filled up to the proper level in your keg fermenter, you're going to sprinkle in that yeast and stir it up really good. You want to agitate it a little bit, get some oxygen mixed in with the wort so the yeast has some nutrients and some air to work with there. Yeast works very well with oxygen. Cap it. You can also agitate the wort inside by shaking the keg a little bit, but not too crazy. You don't want the wort to come pouring out the top. There are 2 notches here in the lid, in the neck, that will allow CO2 gas to release as it's fermenting. So put your cap on and you're good to go. Find a dark, cool place, about 68 to 70 degrees, to store your keg fermenter for about 2 weeks. And don't touch it, don't open the lid to peek. Let it do its thing. Once that's set, you can start bottling.
Now we're just going to steal a little bit of that in this cylinder so that we can take a gravity reading. Okay, will be 1.034, and we'll check it again after fermentation, do the math, and that'll tell us what our alcohol content is.
Okay, time for bottling. Mr. Beer does sell plastic bottles you can use, but I prefer to use the regular 12-ounce beer bottle or a 16-ounce bottle like these because I like to drink beer. I save them, I sanitize them, take the labels off, and I'm good to go. With some caps like this and a bottle capper, you're all set. Now, to carbonate the beer in the bottle, it's necessary to add what they call a priming sugar to each bottle. Mr. Beer has instructions for adding powdered priming sugar to each bottle before you put the wort in and cap it. You agitate it in the bottle, and that wakes the yeast up, which will consume the sugars and release CO2, carbonating that beer in the bottle. I have another method that I like to use, and it involves using something like this. They make 2-gallon jugs with little taps on that you can use as well. This might be a little bit too big, but it works. And what I do is I'll pre-measure and dissolve the priming sugar in some water, pour it into here, and then I'll transfer my beer from the Mr. Keg fermenter into this, stirring it up. and then bottling from this, that gives me a more consistent carbonation in each bottle. Throw a cap on it, and you're good to go. Pain in the ass to get off. Alright, after your beers have been in the bottles for about 7 to 10 days, stick them in the fridge. That'll stop the carbonation process, and then you can age them for a little while longer, and then give them a try.